bringing you the latest news, game updates, insights, highlights, and everything Liberty Hockey. This is Rock the Rink, where Liberty Hockey lives.
Welcome back to the Rock the Rink podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. What an entertaining weekend of hockey it was. We had 3 games going to overtime, 1 shootout. The Lady Flames dominant as always. So tons to dive into today, but we've got more important things to discuss. Pat is back.
Yeah.
Baby number 2 has
That's
been
right.
welcomed to the family. How's your past week been? How are you holding up?
I'm pretty tired, but still good, feeling alive, and yeah, she's alive too, so that's the most important thing. And so good, family's happy, and yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Exciting.
Yeah, it is.
Big step towards, growing that family.
That's right. Yes, all right. We'll see. Talked about having a third, but yeah, we'll go.
Once you wait for
we'll wait for a little bit, obviously, but yeah, it's been nice.
Two members of the hockey program for the future.
Yeah, we'll see. They might be playing like some other Liberty sports, but I don't think hockey's in their future.
There we go. All right.
Oh, yeah. Hey, well, getting into the hockey from this past weekend, our men's D1 team, 2 really intense games, overtime battles with the Calvin Knights, which you got to think they're going to rocket up the ACHA rankings a little bit after this past weekend. But, the Liberty Flames, they lose both games in overtime, 4-3, 7-6, the number 10 team in the nation. And, there's one side of it where it's like you have 8 of your players gone. You're playing without your captain and 5 of your top guys who are in Italy right now. But then there's the other side of it where you had 2-goal leads in both games and you lose both of them in the third period. Penalties come into play a lot, but it's not the way that you like to lose games.
Yeah, I think for Liberty, I think they know they kind of let 2 games get away from them, right? I think they had, like you said, they had 2-goal lead both games, especially in that first game. There's less than 10 minutes left in the game, and unfortunately, you give up a lot of penalties in the third. In fact, in both games, the third period was not for Liberty. Unfortunately, they saw a lot of time in the box, and Calvin capitalized on the power play. It took them a few sets to go through, but once they figured it out, they did. They scored 6 power play goals on the weekend, 2 in game 1 and then 4 on game 2. So, I think that's huge for them. And it's crazy, too, to think that Liberty still scored 3 shorthanded goals.
That's crazy.
On a pretty stout power play of the Knights. But wasn't enough, unfortunately. And, credit Calvin, just battling through adversity and coming back in both those games.
Yeah, you talked about the special teams. 3 shorthanded goals, but then 1 power play goal on the whole weekend, and obviously your PK giving up 6 power play goals. It's pretty hard to win a weekend like that, right, Forth?
Yeah, the special team sucked. That's just kind of, you chalk it up to that. Great, 3 shorthanded goals, that's maybe that one sniff of positive, but 1 for 9 on the power play is not good enough, and 9 for 15 on the PK is atrocious. Right, so the biggest problem with that is the 38 minutes in penalties.
Yeah.
You can't play a top 10 team in this league and be so undisciplined, right? Especially late in the game. You can say what you want about refs. You're both playing in the same game, and if you've developed that reputation of a team that takes penalties, you're going to get penalties. So I think there's a lot of work to do, and the fact they gave up 2 goal leads in the second one.
Yeah.
Also. Obviously, there's some things to figure out, but I think it starts with the discipline and the special teams there. So,
if you put your coaching hat on, Forth, and there's a couple factors of, all right, quite a few guys out of the lineup, whether it's Italy or they just weren't able to play. Is it we're coming back and we're just not conditioned enough, or was it hey, just mentally we weren't there to be making mistakes that ended up costing us? Is it all 3 as a factor for you? What do you think?
Yeah, I think the mental thing, right? Everybody knows that those guys are gone. They're excited for them. They haven't been here all semester, so it's not like they just left in practices. They haven't had practices with the same guys, right? I think it's just that mental side of, hey, let's be disciplined. Let's play fast, play hard, get pucks deep, and play with the unit that we have, and then just try our best on special teams. So I think there's just some misses, and I think the biggest thing is discipline, right? So if one guy takes a penalty, it's not just that one guy. It's everybody else who then is frustrated, like that guy again, then they have to kill it off. If they don't, it's exacerbated by that frustration. So it's just kind of like a bit of a wheel that kind of unravels a little bit. So I mean, there's going to be tons of video, and there's going to be a lot to learn. But I mean, again, there's not all negatives from this weekend. Calvin's a good club, and they've proved that they've got some top end talent, and they find ways to grit it out and steal games. But yeah, there's just things that need to change.
Yeah, and I think for Liberty too as well, like the fact that Annie alluded to it earlier, you were out 8 players in game 1, 7 in game 2. Like the fact that you lose to overtime to a top 10 team. Yes, I know you don't like that you gave away a 2-goal lead, and also, like Forrest said, yeah, your PK unfortunately has seen better days, and you were in the box a lot. That still should be, it's like the good and the bad, right? Like, because the good is like, well, when we know we're fully healthy, all right, maybe we do have a shot at this and can make a run like we do, even shorthanded. Like, we're still a very competitive top 10 team. And so, like, I think that is one of the positives that Liberty should look at, though, heading into now coming up to a matchup next weekend.
Yeah, and I look at it as we still, on the weekend, were able to put in 9 goals.
Yeah.
Right? When
too.
you think of,
right.
Okay, if a lot of our firepower is overseas right now, to still be able to do that, like that's pretty encouraging to me. But again, like I'm kind of with you, Forth, of like on the mental side, you just can't win games when
Right.
you have that many penalties, right? That's pretty hard. But to be able to come back, tie it, go into overtime in game 2, like that was a very fun, very exciting time.
For fan engagement.
Yeah.
Love
Yeah,
watching these games. They're
yeah.
great.
That's right.
That worked out really well.
On his back.
Oh yeah, he did. So hopefully, we just have experience now with those sorts of things, and we just got to figure out the other part of it.
Yeah, it was good to see Olsen get the hat trick game 2, and he actually like hit the post. Second game with like a second or 2 left. I was like, the same play almost happened twice in a row. So that was good to see. Versolano was basically non-existent. I'm just kidding. I was talking to him this morning. We were kind of joking. He's like, mention that I got a 3rd job. I was like, you got a wife, a kid, and 3 jobs? No wonder you're not on the score sheet.
Yeah.
But it was good to see.
I'll smooth that over with him today for you. Yeah. Hey, we were joking about you.
Yeah. So, but also like Anderson, this is his first weekend. I think he contributed 3 points on the weekend, but I thought he did some good things away from the puck really well. I think he'll be a really good addition to this Liberty defense here in this semester.
Yeah, that was a great point. There was a couple times where it's Luke. Yeah, like I'm not used to his play style or seeing him on the ice yet. He did great. I was really pumped for him.
No name bar in the second game. I said, is that Mikey Williams? Oh, okay, no, it's not.
Yeah.
No, and Kerr, I got to say, you hyped up Michael Adamek. What he did over the break. He looked really solid in this past weekend.
No, absolutely. I mean, he, in my opinion, he got a ton of minutes on the ice there, and then to be able to finish his goal, I thought Hayden made a good pass. Got it kind of like tipped and deflected a little bit, but. Yeah, he just flashed like the skill that he has in the offensive zone for being a defenseman. It was awesome.
Yeah, so you talk about, if you have your full roster of guys there plus your captain, you're going to walk away with at least one of those games. But, you got to hand it to Calvin, too.
Yeah.
Well, everything that they've been through this past year, losing their head coach, and it was, an emotional time just talking with their interim head coach, who was the head coach's son. It's just such a tough situation there. And these wins they earned over Liberty, just the second time in program history they've ever beaten a top 5 team. So, he said that just speaks to the testament of what my dad built here. The team has an entirely different fire this season. And, you got to think they're going to go and make some noise in the national tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if they did a good job also too. Like they play like a very good gritty style. And like when they switched up their power play going from low to high, I think that paid dividends for them because they kept constantly having a guy in front of Bernstein and like setting up to whether either deflect or screen him. And then a couple opportunities they had somebody parked in the slot, and then they just great tape-to-tape pass, and it was a quick shot. So like those are the things that you want to see once you like good to see like his son kind of like change up the power play too, knowing like, all right, hey, this isn't working. We need to come up with something. And once he found it, they got the opportunity to go back to that well, and they kind of made those chances count. And how many times have we talked about like the power play needs to be a factor because it obviously was the difference maker in this weekend.
And another thing about Calvin too, like they managed to get under Liberty's skin.
Yes.
You know, going in a big environment like that, huge crowd, it didn't rattle them, and they drew penalties and they capitalized on the opportunities that they got. So you got to hand it to that club and everything they accomplished this past weekend. The big question heading into this week that we were talking about on the podcast last week was, with all the guys gone that we knew weren't going to be there, who was going to be the one to step up? Who were you most excited to see take advantage of the opportunity? Now, I guess looking back at this past weekend, if we could go around the table, who each do you guys think took advantage of the opportunity the most?
I have two right now. One, good to see Luke Anderson kind of fit in well. He stepped up very well. He said he was a two-way defenseman, and he said depending on how the game's leaning, I can be either side of a stay-at-home D or more offense, and we definitely saw that showcasing that this weekend. But definitely Truett Olsen, right? Obviously on that line with Calendike and Barcelona, he normally is not only just the speedster, but also one of the grit guys too. Does all the little things in the corners and wins the face-off, so doesn't get the same kind of praise those other two do. But it was good to see him have a huge weekend and literally kind of carry the load in game 2 for Liberty.
For me, I see all the work off ice, and then to see it transfer onto the ice, I thought Tucker Shields had a phenomenal weekend. Every time it kind of seemed like a big defensive zone draw. Always seems like he was the big body out there making that. And obviously, he contributed in the scoring column as well. But I thought it was a great weekend for him, and it's one of those slowly builds up. When week after week after week you see just the work ethic he has, the focus, the dedication, what kind of teammate he is. I'm really happy for him.
Yeah, I think I'm going to take the easy one too. I think Olsen. That's really good to see him for that confidence, get a few points, get on the board, moving forward with some big weekends coming up. And then I also like Nate Cox, especially the second game, contributed offensively, but I think he just did some little things right.
Right.
So
and Truett's been known to have a good game, kind of like a breakout, so to speak. 2023 in Boston, he had 2 goals against Minot in the semis.
Yeah.
Right. So he's absolutely a player that's capable of that. And while we're talking about him, he snapped a stick because he's so dang strong yesterday in practice. I sawed off part of it. That's the stick my son now has at home to learn. Yeah. No. He needs to do a couple more big things for me. But yeah, exactly. We're gonna leave that one.
Yeah, put it on the market then.
Yeah, exactly.
So Liberty next up is Niagara. Niagara, a team who, these past couple seasons, they're on the uprise. They're all everyone's talking about. But recently, it hasn't been all sunshine and rainbows for them. A couple of splits with some teams that, you wouldn't usually see them splitting with. They split with Syracuse and with Pittsburgh, who has been playing some really, really great hockey lately. But, Liberty did lose both games in the fall to them in shootouts. So it's a team that obviously coming off this Calvin series, they're going to want to go to work when you're facing them. I don't know, Pat. Give me your thoughts on the Niagara series.
I think for Liberty, it's you just got to have a short memory. The biggest thing for them, got to figure out how to be a little bit more disciplined, staying out of the box. And 2, you also know this is a team that you at least got some tape on. You were shorthanded when you played them earlier in the season too. So I think the fact that both games went to a shootout, that's got to make you feel somewhat good. But for Liberty, you just got to, that's the biggest thing. I know Forth touched on it, but stay out of the box, and good things will happen for you, especially if you taking a page out of what Mike Morrison said all weekend, right? Just get pucks on net, get good screens in front of their goaltender, and you guys will pot them and hopefully be able to come away with a sweep.
Yeah, I like Niagara. I liked when they were here, maybe last year, the 2 years before. I like what they bring. They're kind of a gritty, somewhat skilled team, and I think it matches up against Liberty. But again, Liberty's got the same lineup heading into next week. The boys in Italy won't be back, right?
Shouldn't be.
Yeah.
The boys in Italy won't be back. And so, again, no excuses. Just watch video and just tweak those few areas. And I think it's a really good opportunity for everybody that played this weekend to take 1 or 2 steps forward, including Bernstein, right? Say what you will, he's a great goalie. I love him in net.
Yeah, he made some big saves.
And, he's not happy with that. I know he wouldn't be happy with those 6'5" and 7'6" or whatever, right? So he's going to want to step up and do better. So I think it's a good opportunity this weekend for the boys to just dial it back and tweak some things and improve.
Yeah, and they came out buzzing yesterday between workout and practice. So that was really good to see, just the kind of bounce back. I don't think there was any kind of negative self-talk amongst the team, and everyone's kind of charging forward in the head.
That's good to hear too, right? Because honestly, truthfully, like we said, it shouldn't be any negative talk, because we got to remember, this is still without 7 key players, and they had a fantastic, obviously that you would love to see W's in the win column, but the fact that again you're able to stay with the top 10 team is huge.
Yeah.
And you take a look at the rankings for this next week. Obviously, still waiting for those to come out. But Liberty was number 3, heading into the next set that's going to come out. Where do you guys see them shaking out this next coming week? I mean, the people above them had pretty great weekends, and I think everyone below them as well. So, Liberty really the only team that lost a series, could put them back a place or 2.
Yeah, I think that's probably what's going to happen, right? You could see them drop anywhere from 4 to 6. Because the fact that they made both games go to overtime, I think that does help Liberty out a lot. But, it is tough because you still end up coming out with the loss on the end.
Yeah, I think strength of schedule too, right? So it's the top 10, so that's good. But anyway, Liberty's going to be 3 through 6 all year. It's just where are they going to end up come nationals, and obviously you want to be in that top 4 position,
right?
To get the good bracket day off kind of thing. But I don't think they should be overly worried about the rankings so much, and just continue to do the little things right, and just obviously try to win every game from here on out. But they're in a good spot.
They're in a really good spot if they keep winning, right? When you look at their schedule, the strength of schedule and the opportunities with teams coming up, I'm not too worried about that.
Yeah, big ones against Adrian and Ohio. Those are going to be a good litmus test heading into the national tournament.
For sure.
But the guys who are overseas right now at the World University Games, absolutely crushing it. Men's Team USA currently 5-0. Their latest win coming against Ukraine. They're going to face South Korea. Oh, no, they already won.
Yes,
South Korea.
they faced latest against South Korea, win 12-3. So their newest game, Team Canada.
The semis.
That's right.
That's going to be a game to watch.
And I'm looking at the schedule here, Pat. Is that 2 p.m. Eastern?
Yes, that's what it said on the Yacha.
Here on January 21st. All right, so
today.
When this comes out, they'll have the results.
Yeah, and do we know what day the final is?
I think the final would be Thursday.
23rd, probably give a day off to the finals,
All right.
So you're saying there's a chance we'll be back?
It's a midnight game. Gives you some more hours.
Oh, wow.
That's right. Yeah, they might be awake already. We're good.
Yeah,
let's go.
Yeah, that's so true. At midnight, they're just going to be buzzing.
Red Eye from Italy.
Yeah. Definitely is. Come on. Yeah.
No, but the production we're seeing from these guys is really unreal. I mean, they're carrying Team USA. Michael DeBrito, 5 goals and 1 assist on the tournament so far. I believe he's leading the entirety of Team USA. Jacob Kalendike's getting hot, 3 goals and 4 assists to show for it. Conrad Couch, he's been super solid in net. I mean, there's not a Liberty player who made the trip overseas who hasn't been contributing to what they're doing over there. So you got to hope, hey, if they're playing this way in Italy, and you got to hope that by the time they come back, it's just going to keep on going for them.
Yeah, a lot of confidence for them. Obviously, Finchie's been really good too. 3 goals, 3 assists. Last Cable goal and an assist too on the back end. And probably not their style is probably asking the defense not to contribute as much.
Yeah.
So Laz is playing more of a stay-at-home defensive role, which is great to see. Showcase that other side of his game because we're used to seeing just the offensive side. So I think for Liberty, like Annie just talked about, a lot of them, it's great to see their production and hopefully that confidence just comes back over when they come back to the States and rejoin the Flames.
Yeah. And, are they playing all their games on Olympic ice? I haven't gotten to see them all.
Yes.
I was surprised. World Junior, were they playing on NHL ice? Does anyone know up in Ottawa? I feel like I was watching a game. I was like, that's not Olympic ice. It's crazy.
That would be NHL.
Yeah.
They probably played at the Bell Center.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is in Ottawa now.
Oh, man. What a disadvantage for every other team.
The Russians.
besides the U.S. and Canada. That's weird. But when we were over in Finland, they had an NHL sheet, but still, that's a little different for them.
Yeah, for sure. But hey, we're excited for those guys to get back. I'm sure the team can't wait for them to return as well. They'll be back for that Adrian series weekend after next. The women's team also wrapped up their time at the World University Games. They finished 5th overall. Brielle Fussy, Haley Battles were a part in that. So those two are going to be back for their upcoming series the weekend after this one as well. But, a solid tournament showing, and it's just fun to see your ladies contributing. I mean, has there been a lot of hype from the other ladies who aren't with them? Like, hey, look at what they're doing over here. Like, it's cool.
No. Sorry. Yeah, as soon as you're asked that, I was like, no, not that I could really think of. But I'm sure that's all the locker room talk. So it's different where the men's locker room is right next to the weight room, so they kind of carry it in, but just from that cold walk from the girls' locker room down to the weight room.
Nothing's fun anymore.
Plus, it's the first thing they're doing in the morning. They're a little bit more quiet, but I'm sure when they're in the dressing room and on the ice, I know the coaches and I are always talking about it. We're fired up. Coach Forth, I saw you were watching an interview I think Haley Battles was having. Want to share some details there?
Yeah, it was. I think it was the interview with Rusty McGibbon.
Yeah.
Post Kazakhstan win, and Haley had a hat trick. So she was just kind of walking us all through those 3 goals. So it was cool to see her get a little bit of FaceTime there. And Brielle's actually an assistant captain, Team USA. So I think that speaks volumes with who she is, and this program at Liberty and what Coach Lowe's continues to do. And obviously with the support of Liberty, it's huge. So I loved coaching those 2 girls, and it was really cool to see them go over there and get to wear that USA flag on their chest. So I know I texted them a little bit. They didn't get back to me. I'm sure if you asked Coach Lowe's, they actually got back to him.
I was asking, I think Zasha, of hey, how's it going over there? So, it's going well.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Short and
Much
sweet.
information.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's cool. Hopefully they get back safe and can get back to the grind of winning another championship.
Yeah, look at Haley Battles with the hat trick out there.
Yep.
Hey, but the rest of the team had a really solid weekend of exhibition games against HTI, winning 11-2 and 7-2. They're not going to get back into regular season play until the weekend after this one when they go up to McKendree and Maryville. That'll be a big pair of games up there. Kerr, any quotes this week from
So I asked Brooklyn Beauchamp, and she said something, but I just can't remember it now, which I feel terrible about. But just the general overall attitude of the team heading in now to 2025, everybody was just really fired up. It's I don't know how to describe it other than it was just really interesting. There was just a lot of positivity and encouragement around things. Sometimes when you're in the grind of a season, it's easier to just be a little bit more I'm a little sore, I'm a little tired, school's a little tough and stressful, but just kind of a happy attitude overall. But a couple things to highlight. Was talking to Bella Hervert about Pittsburgh. She shared a fun fact with me that the steepest road in the world, a 37% grade, is in Pittsburgh.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
I was like, I can't believe it.
How long is this road?
I don't know, but I'm going to have to Google that later. The steepest road in the world is Pittsburgh. I would have thought Tour de France type of road or something.
In the world?
Yeah, that's what she was saying.
She knows how big the world is. Right?
I understand, but Pittsburgh,
been on the
they're
windiest.
prideful
And
about
it's pretty steep.
it. Okay.
There's always a lot of construction in Pennsylvania.
Oh.
Every time we're driven through there. Yeah, Forrest is nodding his head.
I would say the construction state of the world.
Yeah, you never know.
There's a map.
It's just fun. I've gone to up north. I know you've done this track a lot.
Too many
driving.
times,
Yeah,
yeah.
and so I'm sure every time you've gone up, this state is always under construction.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I've had to drive up north and through Pennsylvania.
They got to keep the
got to
roads
take a
smooth
detour
for
Yeah.
the Amish.
That's true. Yeah, I guess
right?
so.
When they're
Yeah,
wide in their wagons
That's
there.
right. Oh, they're probably going to rough them up soon. They came out this past year.
I gotta say, Google is contradicting her right now.
Oh.
The steepest road in the world is Baldwin Street in New Zealand.
Oh.
But probably haven't been to Pittsburgh yet.
Okay. Yeah, they haven't measured it.
Big world, guys.
Yeah.
You gotta get around to it.
You never know. And then someone else I wanted to highlight, I was watching a little bit of their practice yesterday, Victoria Koo. So she had a couple great shifts in a drill they were doing yesterday. Coach Lowe's is highlighting her, but I thought she flashed a ton of just great moments this weekend as a defenseman. And it's like a year ago when we first met her, she was on crutches. And so now, second semester coming in, like I think she's really coming into her own. I'm really excited to see her continue to support the team coming in here into 2025.
Yeah, I like what she's done. Right, she came in as a forward. She has filled a need on defense
for
the
sure.
Flames, and I think that the way that Coach Lowe's teaches defense and the style that they play, especially defensively, I think she's really come into her own and bought into that, and I think she's been effective in like that top 6 role as a defenseman. So that's really cool to see. And something about her, I like watching her because she reminds me of one of my, Kerr knows this, all-time favorite Lady Flames. Allie Morris.
Oh. There we go. Yeah.
Her favorite Flame.
Yeah.
Allie Morris.
Yeah.
If you find video, Pat, of like them skating side by side,
Oh.
it's like uncanny. Like
It's,
the stride.
yeah.
And actually, I
Great
texted
analogy.
a picture of it to Allie a couple of months ago, and she said, like, tell her to bend her knees more. Because she said it doesn't affect me, and I always needed to bend my knees more.
Yeah,
So,
there you go.
Yeah.
No, that's a great comparison.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, that's good.
Very similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, you love to see it, and we're excited to see our women's D1 Flames back in action. I mean, it's going to be a good pair of games. Maryville, it's always pretty tight when you come up against them. And I was talking with Ellie Sauerauer actually this past weekend about the St. Louis trips. They're just up and down, up and down.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That is
It's
the
a grind.
road trip of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Home away from home, for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so they're getting ready to make that trip once again. Excited to see what they're going to do in this second half of the season. Our men's Division II team, they took home the Wagon Wheel Trophy, which I heard it's the last time they're going to do the Wagon Wheel.
Yeah,
Really?
It keeps.
Yeah,
It's here forever.
It's here forever.
I didn't even know this was a
Yeah.
thing. So
Why
this
is it
news to me.
yeah,
They're going
because they're
D1.
going D1.
Yeah.
That's, man, wow. Liberty, when it's the last time they're going to play a team, they said, it's ours now.
Yeah.
Trophy
That
case.
back when they did the Blue and Gray Cup.
Yeah, I
they
was gonna
played
say.
Davenport since.
Ben Hughes. Yeah, that's what he
So,
does.
yeah, Ben
Remember
Hughes,
skating
he
off the
knows.
ice with that
He
trophy.
Oh,
knows.
he's got lots of hard work.
Yeah, exactly.
Trophy thief.
That's right.
So the Wagon Wheel resides in Lynchburg permanently, but it was a tough fight to get there.
Oh, yeah.
One game they take in a shootout, the other game they take in overtime. Just a wild pair of games. And on Liberty's side of things, you get down early in both of those games, and you don't want to be down like that. And, you know, it took a lot of grit, honestly, though, to fight back. I mean, I think Game 2, back-to-back goals from Josh Martin is what gets you back in, and Mark Padgett scores the OT winner. And then Game 1, I mean, 5 rounds of a shootout. Lane Scon was absolutely unreal in that, and then Thomas Kaner puts it away. So, you know, you don't want to be in those kinds of situations, but I think after coming off a series like Lindenwood last weekend, you know, you wanted to see that fight in the team.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
fight that they showed.
Yeah, and I think, like, because, that's a really great analogy. Because, like, you say Lindenwood Game 1, let's just say what it was. You got walked by Lindenwood, who right now is probably everyone's picking them to win the D2 National Championships. And then Game 2, you showed your fight, pushing them to a shootout that got deep in some rounds itself. And then you're playing a great NC State team that always has a ton of momentum, is looking to get back to Nationals before they head up to D1. And, yeah, Annie said it. They take, a 2-0 lead in Game 1 and then a 3-0 lead in Game 2 on their ice. You don't score until with about 30 seconds left in the second period. Like, to me, this was like a huge turning point series for Liberty, or could be, if just building off of the momentum and showing that grit and fight, and especially as a team now trying to get healthy, trying to get back and be the number 2 team in the Southeast, because right now they have fallen to 3rd. So, yeah, this was a great series for Liberty, and great to see them have that fight.
Yeah, I like it, right? It's just kind of the opposite we just talked about with men's 1. It's the opposite side of that resilience. Like, you're down 3-2 and you come back and win. So, like, as a team, just the confidence level
Gotta be buzzing.
on the opposite side of the spectrum of like, hey, we can do this, we're in this. And like you talked about against Lindenwood, Lindenwood's so good. Right? And
Yeah.
everybody knows it. And sometimes it's a little bit disheartening. Like, when you play Lindenwood at Nationals, you're going to have to steal that game. It's doable.
Sure.
But you just have to make some changes and just try to steal one. But just to come back away with the Wagon Wheel Trophy and two wins at home, like, say what it is, it's just a good morale boost heading into another very difficult weekend for men's D2.
I'm excited for Josh Martin. Was banged up a little bit in the fall.
Yeah.
Played some limited minutes at the end of the semester. Obviously played against Lindenwood.
But to kind of have a breakout weekend and some tight, close games, I think I'll just kind of encourage the entire team of like, okay, we're back. Like we're getting all the bodies, all the players are rolling right here. I think that's huge.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, we talked about the comeback that they made, and it was kind of reminiscent to me of watching the national tournament last year, because that's what they did game after game in pool play. Besides, obviously, that last game, they got down early and they fought back. So I think it was, partially just encouraging to see them be able to pull that off again, because you haven't seen a ton of that this year. You haven't seen the same fight that you saw this past weekend. But they have a huge challenge this next week.
They do.
Great opportunities.
Yeah, and like you said, Pat, they're the number 3 team right now. They got to get to that number 2 spot, and the opportunity's in front of you this weekend.
Yes, it is.
You're playing 3 insanely good teams that are higher than you in the rankings. Well, not Miami, Ohio, but 2 teams that in FGCU and Lindenwood that are way up there. And if you can earn wins against them, that number 2 spot is yours for the taking. So let's put the coach's hat on.
Precious on.
When you have an opportunity like this, what are you talking about with the guys?
Get pucks deep and win some hockey games. No. So I think the biggest thing, like obviously beat Miami because they're in your conference, right?
Yes.
Region. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I think you beat Miami because obviously you have to take care of business because they're in your region. You can crap the bed against Lindenwood. Obviously they're not going to try to do that, but that one's not as important as Florida Gulf. You have to find a way to beat Florida Gulf. Like throw all your chips in that, because that's going to get you to at least that 2 spot. I don't think they're ever going to get ahead of Florida because of the season they've had. Yeah. But you have to beat Florida. That's the one you circle. Obviously, Lindenwood. I think you throw, let's say, darts at a dartboard against Lindenwood and keep tweaking how are we going to beat this team that's better than us.
Yeah.
Because I think Lindenwood is better than Liberty. So, again, Coach Hughes, Garland, Graham, and the crew, I think they can just try different things against Lindenwood. But, yeah, the biggest one is you got to beat Florida, got to handle Miami effectively.
Yeah, and I think for the Lindenwood game too, yes, you've had the 5-2 loss, unfortunately, not what you want to see, but you've had showings versus Lindenwood. You lost the game out there, game 2 in overtime. You lost a shootout here, and also too, the last 3 times you've played them, you've had a goal called off. Right, so
crazy the amount of goals they've had called off.
Yeah, this year. Yeah, that's true too. So you kind of know hey, we're getting close, right, to peaking at the right time, and this is a good chance to showcase what kind of team you can be and what you're going to be. And like you said, this is a huge weekend for them because you want to go at least 2-1 in this showcase if you want a chance at getting one of those auto bids.
Yeah, well, and also he just needs to get coach from VTech on the horn. Hey,
that's crazy.
We gotta play each other.
Yeah.
But obviously a VTech coach is probably no.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Get it home and home. We have this wagon wheel trophy.
Yeah.
wanna
play it?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and you talk about the importance of that Florida Gulf Coast game. I heard that it's at 8 a.m. in the morning on Sunday.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Just for church, ready for church.
Hey, they're used to playing in the mornings. I don't know what time FGCU's practice time is, but Sunday morning church.
Yeah, there you go.
Just gotta get to work in that one, because that one is, I agree with you, the most important of the 3.
No, thank you. That's tough.
Yeah, it's going to be a challenging weekend, though. And, Pat, we were talking about it before we started taping. But, if you don't go at least 2-1 this weekend, you don't really have another chance to make up for it.
No. Yeah.
Strength of schedule, the remainder of the season, even if you do go 4-0, I don't think it's going to be enough to get you over Virginia Tech.
No, I don't think so either. I know MSU Denver is ranked in the top 10 of the West region. I just don't know exactly where they are. And then you play Elon, right? Who's currently not ranked at all. So, this is kind of your weekend that you have to showcase, and then after having a good weekend, you got to follow it up versus MSU Denver and have a good weekend there too. But yeah, like you just talked about, Annie, this is huge for them if they want a chance to eclipse Virginia Tech.
Yeah, playoff atmosphere this weekend.
And number 5, MSU Denver.
Yeah. So
5.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to be some big hockey games. I mean, good news is they're mostly healthy. I mean, compared to last semester.
Yeah, most of the year.
Every week who we're going to pull up. They should have all their guys, as far as I know, this weekend. So they're excited to see it. Excited to see what they're able to pull out. And our D2 Lady Flames about to be back in action. They're on top of the Southeast region
One
right
of
now.
our hottest teams at
Hottest
Liberty.
in Liberty hockey, 4th. Tell us about them right now. What's going on?
Yeah, no, I'm excited about this weekend to get the girls back in action. UPenn is going to be a decent game. I think they're going to be better than we expect / they look on paper looking at this. And then Villanova's the big one. Right?
Yeah.
We need
Rivalry.
To win, yeah, we need to win these 2 games and just take care of business there and kind of help solidify that number 1 spot in the region. And the girls are ready. We've had some injuries. A couple girls dropped off the roster. So we're a light lineup, making some changes. But I think overall everybody's ready to go and get these first 3 games under the belt.
Yeah. Also, too, you want to establish yourself in those games because this kind of sets you up for seeding, not just for nationals, but also conference play, right? Like you're playing Villanova team that's won the DVCHC multiple times. So, like, you would love to get the crown from them and use that as momentum heading into nationals.
Yep.
Yeah. And Coach Forth, I just want to ask you, I mean, heading into this season, maybe even just second semester, from what you see off the ice, like what about this team, set them up to be so successful this year? Like when you looked at the team at the beginning of the year, did you know they were going to be this good?
Yeah, no, I was really encouraged with the people that Coach Rena brought in. I think she's done a really great job recruiting the right girls and also talent and the same thing. So I signed up before I saw the roster, but then when I got on the ice and was coaching with her, I was pleasantly excited about that. Yeah. So I think it's just like the fact that everybody in the locker room respects each other, that they're Christ focused. I think that's huge, and I think nobody takes anything personally. Everybody wants to get better, and I just really like where they're at.
Yeah.
And you guys play a lot of games. That's crazy.
Yeah, this is
a heavy schedule.
Yeah, Coach was saying that it just honestly, she doesn't want to play necessarily this many games, but we're probably about 6 or 7 heavier this year. But she said it just lined up.
Yeah.
When she was making the schedule, everything just kind of fit perfectly. So it's been good. Again, as a coach, you get 5 or 6 weeks off, and you just kind of hope the girls keep in shape, whatever that means.
Yeah. Stay dialed in. Yeah.
Eating right and doing
That's true.
their
Yeah,
thing.
because y'all have a long break after
big.
conference.
Yeah.
Well, not just Christmas break, but then even after your conference
Yeah.
championship, you have because you're the last team to go to nationals too.
Yep.
So a lot of breaks coming for this team soon, which could be good but also bad at the same time.
It'll be good. I think obviously we've got the conference, so it's a couple games, a couple weekends, conference, something to look forward to. Then we've got some time off, tweak. They actually get a break for spring break. We're going to give them a little bit of time off.
Good for them.
Right? So, get your homework, get your mental clarity, whatever that means, get some rest, and then we're going to just get back in, get dialed, and go see if we can make a splash, steal a couple games at nationals.
Yeah, we're hyped to see what this team does in the second semester and in the national tournament. Can't wait to see it. Hey, before we hop on out of here, men's Division 3, they're going to kick off their second semester against the Rowan Profs, and this should be a pretty tough game, right, Pat?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, this is for top of the ACC HL at AAU. Obviously, we've talked about the record for men's D3. I believe they're 7-5, but 7-1 when it comes to playing AAU D3 team. So, this is a great opportunity for them, not just from a conference standing, but also a national standing too, because obviously I believe Rowan probably will be at the national tournament, and there's a chance they could be in the same pool too. Or if I believe this is a D3 team that should be the first team to make its way out of pool play and actually into the tournament, but they could face them first round in the quarter. So a lot of big things for men's D3 coming into this weekend.
Yeah, I'm expecting Mikey after his time with D1 just be absolutely buzzing.
All that experience.
Yeah, have the weekend of a lifetime. But yeah, this is a special team, and I've kind of said it all year of just the difference from year to year to year. Coach Wagner has the boys dialed in, and I think they're getting better at the right time. So this is a big weekend for all the things you just mentioned there, Pat. But yeah, everything's trending well. Had a great workout yesterday. Expecting another good one tomorrow. Get these boys going.
Love it. There's a lot on the line this
Yeah.
weekend.
Oh, yeah.
All
A lot of
the
big
hockey
games.
teams. Lots of big games. We can't wait to see what happens and break them down for you next week. But until next time, thank you so much for watching the Rock the Rink podcast.